Here with Concordia head wrestling coach Levi Calhoun to preview the 2020-21 season, and first duel coming up pretty fast as we record this. Last season, as far as NAI wrestling, we're fortunate to get the entire season through, unlike some other sports last year, but I'm sure there are some guys you didn't see a whole lot since that time period. What's it been like just getting everybody back, and what's that excitement level like in the room again now?
Obviously, we were extremely blessed to be able to get our tournament in. I think everything kind of hit the entire country that next week, so we got very lucky, and we don't take that for granted. There's a lot of people that didn't get to compete, so we're pretty happy about that. And then, spring break was that next week, and then we never saw our guys again after that. They were gone, so it was a real difficult and weird time for everybody, but to be able to have our kids back, obviously we reported early August here, and we've been working ever since. It's been nice to get back in that routine and back on the mat, so we've been enjoying it, and we're just excited to step on the line with somebody else other than our own guys, obviously.
Of course, second semester last year, Tanner Farmer drew a lot of interest with him switching from playing football at Nebraska to wrestling here. What's the update on him? I know he's still trying to compete in wrestling.
Yeah, and we were, Tanner we're a little small part of Tanner's story, obviously, but I think he really fell in love with Concordia, and we obviously fell in love with him. He's just a good person first and foremost, and he was a good person to have around our guys. Tanner came into our room and kind of reignited his passion for wrestling, and obviously did what he did, and now he's continuing to compete. He's working at earning a spot on the World and Olympic team in Greco-Roman. We were lucky enough to get him hooked up with some top guys in Greco, and he's been training and just competed at U.S. Senior Nationals up in Iowa. Ended up fourth there, so he's doing well, and we're just excited to follow his journey.
Well, that senior class last season did a lot for the program over their 4 years here. What's maybe something that could leave a lasting impact for you, even though that they're gone now?
Well, I think every class leaves a lasting impact if you're a coach, right? So you have stories about every class. This one in particular, we lost a lot of starters, and a guy like, person I think of is DeAndre Cherry, a three-time national qualifier, two-time GPAC champ. Not having him in the room every day is just different. And there's a lot of other guys: Alberto Garcia, Chris Kimball, Zach Moisner, those leaders, Darren Miller. It's just there's a lot of guys that are stepped away, but left a great impact on our team and our culture. They were good students, they were good wrestlers, and just good people. And obviously we miss them, but like I said, that's every class. I can tell a story about every class since I've ever started coaching. So.
And taking a look now at this team, you have a couple of returning national qualifiers. I thought we'd kind of start with Mario Waibara, who is hopefully in line to take another step forward as a junior. But what can you say about his development from when he first got here to now, and what things look like for him this season?
Yeah, I think Mario's biggest success is that he's reignited his passion for wrestling, kind of like we talked about Tanner, but he's found a way to just love the sport again. And I don't know that he completely loved the sport when he first got here, and he's kind of found a way to enjoy it, and he's loving competing and training. So that's been huge for him just on a personal level, but he's stepped into such a great leadership role, and talking to our young guys. We got a lot of young guys here, obviously this year, but I'm excited because he's hungry to get better. He was a point away from being an All-American last year, and just so close, and it's a heartbreaking, that's why they call it the heartbreak round. It is a heartbreaking thing, and since that moment, I think he's had that goal in mind of getting on the podium, and he's working every day towards that.
Well, Mario was a conference champion, and so was Gabe Crawford, who's back this year. He was maybe a surprise to some that he was able to win a conference title, but what did he do to put him in position to have success like that? And what does that do for his confidence going into this season?
Yeah, it wasn't a surprise to us. We know the talent that he has. It's just him putting it all together at the right time. So we're excited for him to be back and finish out his career. It's going to be one of the conference favorites, obviously, and one of our contenders for an All-American spot. you talk about confidence. His confidence is definitely higher. He's not been a guy that's been a vocal leader in our room. He's just a leader by example. But this season, he's really stepped into that role. The guys voted him as a team captain, along with Mario and Isaiah Burks. But he stepped into that, and it's just so exciting to see him continue to want to help other people. And I think that's continuing to help his confidence as well in the room. So it's exciting to see. I'm excited to see him compete.
Speaking of some of those other returners, you mentioned Isaiah Burks. Maybe they get to step into the spotlight a little bit more this season. But what stands out to you about some of those returners that maybe hopefully are making progress from last season?
Yeah, Isaiah Burks is one of those guys. Again, he's another team captain that has been right on the edge of being a national qualifier and dealt with some injuries early in his career. But he's feeling good. He's healthy, and he's working very hard. He's a very talented wrestler. His confidence again has gone up. That's going to be vital for him. He's probably the guy I'm most excited to see get on the mat. Just like I said, with that confidence level, I think he's going to do a lot of really good things. So he's probably, Mario, Gabe, Isaiah, 3 team captains, 3 guys that are going to lead this team for sure.
So there's clearly room for newcomers to earn starting spots and to have an impact. Can you break down a little bit about what this new class of freshmen and transfers bring to the room?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to be a different looking team this season than we were last. We'll probably have 5 or 6 freshmen starting, in our lineup, which I'm excited about. We got some kids that are going to develop really well. There's just a few names. Bronner Bissett from Oklahoma, state placer at Oklahoma, will probably be wrestling at 25 out of varsity. We're excited to see him continue to develop. We got a state champ from just down the road, Jevin Storis from Milford, and he has, from the time he's been in the room here in August, has elevated his wrestling so much, and we're excited to, his drive is for a freshman, the drive that he has and his hunger to get better is very exciting to see. We got a heavyweight out of Albuquerque, it's a state champ, Jacob Tejas, and he's going to be our starting heavyweight, and he's been working hard, watching film with Coach Cox a lot, asking questions. We got a kid out of Southern California named Mason Garcia, probably be our 197 pounder, state qualifier in California, a very, very tough wrestling state. And we got a lot of other guys in there. We got a kid out of Gretna, TJ Huber, and a kid out of Idaho, Bubba Summers, that'll be competing for the 174 spot. There's a lot of guys. We brought in 15, 20 new guys, freshmen, and we're just trying to figure out where they're all going to fit into the puzzle, and see who steps up and who's ready to compete for us.
Well, you start the season with a duel, so you quickly have to make some decisions about lineups. How is that progressing? You mentioned several guys that are competing for those spots, but is that something right up until the first duel you'll still be kind of figuring some of those spots out? Yeah,
we're constantly evaluating, obviously. We got a pretty good idea what our lineup's going to look like. A couple spots still up for grabs there that we haven't really decided yet, but it's kind of working itself out. We did a few inter-squad matchups last week in the room and got some things figured out. So I think we've got our lineup fairly set for next week, and we're just excited to compete, like I said.
Looking at the conference, it was good to get back to really dominating it last season with winning the regular season and the tournament. Is it kind of an unknown this year, maybe, what that race looks like from a conference perspective?
Absolutely, yeah. Like I said, we're a different team, and a lot of teams are that way. Morningside, Briarcliff are always contenders. Doane is on the up and coming here. He's got that team going. So there's a lot of unknowns, and obviously our goal is always to win a conference title. That's the expectation. If that's not our goal, like I said, I think I said it last year, I don't know what we're doing if we're not trying to win a conference title. What's the point of, so our goal is to dominate the conference and win the conference. So it'll look a little different this year, but like I said, we have to have high expectations for ourselves.
And I think it's worth touching on just, things have been different, I think, for every team in the country, no matter what sport it is. But how has just the situation with the virus affected the way your team is preparing
Yeah.
for this season.
Well, I think in general, wrestlers are pretty resilient people. So like, there's not been, I don't think, a lot of disruption for us. We just try to take it in stride. So the sanitization stuff, we obviously as wrestlers are cleaning stuff anyway. That's nothing's been different. We clean our mats every day and wipe everything down. That's pretty routine for us in any year. Wearing the masks, we've been wearing masks coming out of our locker room into practice and drilling with masks on, and it's more annoying than anything, but it's not something that's going to deter us from our goals. So it's not something that we think of as a deterrent or a distraction. It's just another thing we got to deal with to move forward, to be successful and to be able to compete.
With such a new look roster, how much fun has it been though, just to be able to get into the room and focus on fundamentals and be able to have a chance to shape and mold a new team? It's got to be exciting from a coaching perspective. It
is, and that's something me and Coach Cox talked about a lot. Just being able to kind of direct the culture in the way that we want it to be for our program has been exciting. And then we have a lot of young kids that are just hungry to learn. A lot of times you have kids that come from programs where maybe their high school programs they didn't have coaches that were technique savvy, or they just haven't been coached up to that level. So they're just still learning, and their ceiling is so high. So to see those guys come in and ask questions and watch film and be able to get on the mat one-on-one with them has been awesome. I mean, we love doing that. I mean, we're wrestling coaches. We want to get on the mat with our guys and compete and help them to get better.